Sunday, October 11th. I mean, you just have to picture one of those perfect, like, crystal clear blue sky suburban mornings.
Oh, absolutely. The kind where you can practically smell the freshly cut grass, right?
Yes, exactly. Like, neighbors are out washing their cars in the driveway. People are pulling weeds from their flower beds. Kids are setting up, a late season lemonade stand.
It's the absolute picture of domestic tranquility.
Right. It really is. But then just tearing right through this idyllic scene is a car driven by a man named Hank Landry.
And he is in an absolute panic.
Total panic. He's speeding toward the meticulously landscaped French provincial-style home of his law partner, Ben Bayless.
Because he's supposed to be meeting Ben's wife, Camille, there.
Right. She's just arriving home from a weekend trip. But when they walk through the front door of that beautiful house, that perfect Sunday morning just completely shatters.
Because of what's inside.
Yeah. Because there, right in his immaculate home office, lies Ben Bayless. And he's been stabbed multiple times in the chest.
It immediately forces you to look at the dissonance of that scene, like the violent disruption of absolute perfection.
Right. It's such a jarring image.
But what makes this scenario so incredibly tense isn't just the body on the floor. It's the secret that Camille Bayless is holding in her head the exact moment she looks at her dead husband.
Because she was already planning an escape.
Exactly. Camille desperately wanted to leave Ben. I mean, he wasn't just a powerful, wealthy defense attorney. He was deeply corrupt, controlling, and, highly dangerous.
He was a terrifying guy to be married to.
He really was. So to gain financial stability and, well, more importantly, to ensure her own physical safety while making her exit, Camille needed a bulletproof alibi for this specific weekend.
She needed undeniable proof that she was out of town.
Right. So to get it, she hired a 26-year-old bartender named Aubrey Price.
And Audrey has this tragic past of her own, which we'll get into.
Oh, we definitely will. But her job was to go to the small town of St. Francisville and physically pose as Camille.
So, Camille has spent weeks, maybe even months, engineering this incredibly elaborate manufactured alibi proving she was miles away.
Right.
But now her husband is murdered right during the exact window of time she supposedly wasn't there. I mean, it completely flips the script on her survival plan.
It's the ultimate irony.
It is, and that is the mission for this deep dive. We are dissecting the intricate overlapping layers of Ashley Elston's thriller, Anatomy of an Alibi.
It's such a complex web.
Yeah, we're exploring how the literal mechanics of an alibi dictate whether these characters survive, and how a massive web of small-town corruption connects this very fresh, very bloody murder to a decade-old tragedy.
Yeah, the book actually opens with a definition from the Louisiana State Bar Association, and it sort of frames the entire narrative.
Oh, right, the epigraph.
Yeah. It defines an alibi as a defense offered by a defendant claiming they were at some other place at the time of the commission of the crime.
Pretty standard legal definition.
It is, but the novel immediately asks you to look past that legal definition and examine the modern reality of that concept. The text draws a hard line between the anatomy of an alibi and the psychology of an alibi.
The anatomy being the hard data, right?
Exactly. We are talking about the unavoidable digital exhaust of modern life.
Okay, let me stop you there because I really want to dig into how this actually works.
Sure.
When you say the anatomy of the alibi, the book lays out things like credit card receipts, cell phone device location data, vehicle location services, metadata from pictures.
All the digital footprints.
Right. And Aubrey Price has been in St. Francisville swiping credit cards, letting her phone ping off local towers, just curating this perfect digital trail.
It's a full-time job for her that weekend.
But how hard is that to fake? If I'm a detective, don't I just assume someone could, hand their phone and their Visa card to a friend?
You'd assume that, yeah, but defeating the anatomy of a digital alibi is actually much harder than simply handing off a device. Yeah, which is why Aubrey's job is so technically complex. I mean, let's look at the metadata, specifically the XIF data on photos.
Okay, break that down for us.
So when Aubrey takes a picture posing as Camille, the phone isn't just capturing the image itself, it's embedding all this hidden information into the file's code.
Like what kind of information?
Like the latitude, longitude, altitude.
Wow, even altitude.
Yeah, and the exact timestamp from an atomic clock, the specific device model, even the lens aperture. It's all baked in.
That is wild.
And furthermore, cell phone location data isn't just GPS. It's the network handshakes.
Network handshakes, what does that mean?
Basically, as Aubrey moves through St. Francisville, Camille's phone is constantly pinging local cell towers,
Mm.
negotiating signal strength.
Oh, so the tower is talking back to the phone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the telecom provider keeps a log of which sector of which tower the phone connected to. It creates this geographical breadcrumb trail that is almost impossible to spoof retrospectively.
Because you can't fake a signal ping from yesterday.
Right. Aubrey has to physically be there, moving the device through the physical world to generate an authentic network response.
So the data is basically a fortress. I mean, it's cold, hard math that equals innocence.
It is an ironclad digital ghost. But Elston brilliantly contrasts Camille's curative of digital perfection with Hank Landry's absolute nightmare of a reality.
Oh, Hank. Poor Hank. Well, maybe not poor Hank, but...
Right. The law partner who just found the body.
Yeah.
Hank realizes instantly how a detective's mind works.
Because he's a defense attorney.
Exactly. He knows the police look at the spouse first. But if Camille is cleared by this mountain of digital data, the police pivot to whoever stands to gain the most financially.
And that is absolutely Hank.
Yep, he is the executor of Ben's estate.
Yeah.
With Ben dead, the Bayless and Landry law firm becomes solely the Landry law firm.
That is a massive financial windfall.
Yeah.
But the book adds a layer that makes it so much worse for him.
Oh, the dissolution draft.
Yes. Hank knows that Ben had just recently presented him with a draft to dissolve their partnership. Ben was actively pushing him out.
And that is a ticking time bomb of a motive. I mean, if the police discover that dissolution draft, Hank rockets to the #1 suspect spot.
Instantly.
So knowing this, Hank mentally audits his own alibi for Saturday night, which is the presumed time of death.
And it is not good.
It's terrible. He dropped Ben off, went home, changed into these grease-stained clothes, and spent the entire evening buried under the hood of a 1970 Pontiac GTO he's been restoring in his isolated garage.
So he made no phone calls.
None.
No credit card swipes.
Good.
No network handshakes as he moved around town.
It's a complete digital and physical vacuum. He has zero proof of where he was.
Wow.
And the narrative actually mirrors this panic with Aubrey Price.
Mm.
Like, while she was busy creating Camille's bulletproof digital footprint in St. Francisville, Aubrey's own personal digital life went totally dark.
Oh, because she had to leave her own phone behind.
Right. Her personal phone sat untouched for 12 hours. Her laptop was inactive. She realizes that this complete dead zone of digital inactivity is a massive red flag.
See, I sort of struggle with that concept a bit. I want to push back on the idea that putting your phone down is inherently suspicious.
You think it's normal?
Well, yeah. I mean, we all forget our phones sometimes. We all take naps. If the absence of data is criminal, aren't we all basically guilty on a lazy Sunday afternoon?
That's a fair point, but you're touching on a massive shift in how law enforcement views behavior today.
How so?
Well, in the 1990s, not having a digital trail was just the default state of humanity. Nobody tracked you.
Right.
But today, in a world where you are constantly tracked by your smartwatch, your car, your thermostat, your phone, a certain 12-hour absence of tracking looks intentional.
Like you're hiding something.
Exactly. It implies you purposefully went off the grid to create a dark space. Context is everything here.
So it's about the deviation from the baseline.
Right. If a man is murdered and his business partner, who remember was about to be fired, suddenly has a 12-hour gap in his usually active digital life, that absence becomes a highly incriminating piece of circumstantial evidence.
Okay, that makes sense. But surely human testimony still holds weight, right?
You would think so.
Like if the digital data is the cold anatomy, what about a person? If Camille's brother looks a detective in the eye and swears she was with him, isn't a human being more compelling to a jury than, a spreadsheet of Verizon network handshakes?
Well, that brings us directly to the psychology of the alibi. And the harsh reality that the book points out is that human witnesses are incredibly flawed.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And often they're actively detrimental to a defense.
Mm-hmm.
A jury might connect with humans, sure, but police view human witnesses with immediate, profound skepticism.
Because people lie.
Exactly. Believability is a psychological hurdle. The novel explores this perfectly when Camille is being interviewed by Detective Nathan Sullivan.
He's the lead investigator on Ben's murder.
Right. So Camille claims she was at a bar in St. Francisville having drinks with her brother, Silas Everett. And Aubrey is secretly listening to this interview.
Oh, that scene is so tense.
It is. And Aubrey cringes internally when Camille tells the detective that her brother is, quote, prepared to tell you exactly what I just did.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that phrasing is terrible. It sounds like she literally handed him a script.
It sounds entirely manufactured, right?
Yeah.
The psychology of phrasing matters immensely to cops.
So saying someone is prepared is a red flag.
A huge one.
Yeah.
When you say someone is prepared to corroborate your story, you are signaling to the detective that the witness has rehearsed.
That makes total sense.
Furthermore, having a family member vouch for you is considered the weakest form of evidence because their motives are instantly questioned.
Naturally.
The police just assume a brother will lie for a sister to save her from a murder charge.
Hmm.
So now, the witness's character is on trial right alongside the suspect's whereabouts.
Which explains exactly why Hank is sweating bullets.
Oh, he is terrified.
I mean, he has a non-existent digital alibi, a massive financial motive, and 0 witnesses. And since he's a former defense attorney, he knows exactly how tight this noose is.
He knows exactly how the system operates, which is why he watches Detective Sullivan analyze the crime scene with just sheer terror.
Right, because Sullivan is a smart guy.
He is. Sullivan observes the pristine nature of the Bayless home. There are no signs of forced entry at all.
Right, the windows are intact, the locks aren't picked.
Exactly. And inside the office, the room wasn't tossed. Drawers aren't pulled out, documents aren't scattered everywhere.
So it wasn't a robbery gone wrong?
No, this wasn't a burglary interrupted.
The psychology of the victim's space really tells a story here. If a home isn't breached forcefully, it usually means the victim let the killer in, right? Like,
Right.
they knew each other.
Usually, yes. That's the immediate assumption. And then Sullivan focuses on the murder weapon, or rather, the absence of one.
Because they can't find what killed him.
Right. Sullivan notes the details on Ben's desk. Ben was a man who loved the theatrical props of his own success.
He was very showy.
Very. He kept a gavel given to him by a retired judge. He had a brass set of scales from his mother. And crucially, he had a wooden display box that held a hunting knife.
Ah, but the box is empty.
The display box is empty and the knife is gone. So Sullivan deduces that this hunting knife is likely the murder weapon.
Makes sense.
And because it was just sitting there on the desk, just a weapon of opportunity, Sullivan leans toward the theory that this was a crime of passion.
Like someone came in and argument escalated.
Exactly. Things got heated, the killer grabbed the closest sharp object, and things went fatally sideways. It completely lacks the hallmarks of a premeditated professional hit.
But Hank immediately spots the flaw in that logic, doesn't he?
He does, because he's a defense attorney.
Right. Hank argues that if a killer had been in that office before, like if they knew the knife was displayed on the desk, it could absolutely be premeditated.
Great point.
Because you walk into a room knowing a weapon is waiting for you, which means you don't have to bring one and risk getting caught with it on the way in.
Hank is playing defense attorney in real time there. He's actively trying to muddy the waters.
But Sullivan doesn't buy the deflection.
Not for a second. Sullivan makes it very clear that everyone, including Hank, is a suspect.
So we really have to look at Hank's motivation here. When he goes back to the office, is he genuinely trying to solve his partner's murder to find justice? Or is he just frantically trying to frame a secondary suspect to save himself?
It is a fascinating study in moral compromise.
Hmm.
Hank tells himself he wants Sullivan to have an open mind, that he wants justice for Ben.
Right.
But his actions betray his real survival instinct. He doesn't sit down and grieve. He bypasses all the normal human reactions and immediately starts digging into Ben's secret files.
He's looking for a way out.
He explicitly thinks about needing to find someone else for the police to focus on. He needs a massive distraction so they never look at his dissolved partnership or his empty garage.
Wow.
He isn't searching for the truth. He's hunting for a scapegoat.
And that hunt for a scapegoat drops him right into the dark, hidden machinery of Ben Bayless's life.
The stuff Ben kept completely hidden.
Yeah. So Hank goes through Ben's briefcase. He's sorting through, standard case files, depositions, motions. But at the very bottom, the file that was actually sitting open on Ben's desk when he was murdered is a complete anomaly.
It stands out immediately.
It does. It doesn't have a cover page. It doesn't have a client billing number.
It's an unmarked, clandestine file. And when Hank opens it, he finds a private investigator's report on Aubrey Price.
The bartender Camille hired.
Yes. It contains surveillance photos of her. But the most jarring piece of evidence tucked into this file is a physical artifact.
The napkin.
Yes. A cheap paper bar napkin from a place called Doug's Tavern. And written on the napkin, in handwriting that is definitely not Ben's, is Aubrey's name, her phone number, and her address.
Think about how jarring that would be. You think you know your business partner.
Right.
I mean, the text constantly reinforces how Ben was obsessed with this curated French provincial style for his home.
You wanted everything perfect.
Perfect, expensive, untouchable. He's the classic poor kid who made money and is now desperately trying to prove he belongs in high society.
Exactly.
And yet here is this gritty, unpolished piece of literal trash bar napkin from a dive bar just sitting in the middle of his pristine world. It completely proves he is operating in the gutter while living in a mansion.
That's a huge contrast. The napkin forces Hank, and honestly the reader, to reevaluate Ben entirely.
He wasn't who he pretended to be.
Not at all. Ben maintained this facade of high society respectability, taking on lucrative corporate clients. But the files revealed a massive shadow economy.
What was he actually doing?
Well, Ben bartered his legal services.
Yeah.
He took on cases for people who couldn't pay standard fees.
Oh, like pro bono work?
No, it wasn't pro bono charity work at all.
Yeah.
And he ran these shadow deals through his church, which is just a brilliant, twisted manipulation of a trusted community institution.
Wait, so what was he getting in return, if not money?
He traded legal representation for a year of landscaping, for sets of tires, for free haircuts.
I really want to focus on how insidious that is. He isn't trading for money. He's trading for debt.
Exactly. He wants them beholden to him.
He is meticulously orchestrating a web of working-class people who literally owe him their livelihoods. He's basically building a mafia structure disguised as a suburban law firm.
You hit the nail on the head. And the currency of that mafia structure is leverage.
Leverage.
As Hank digs deeper, it becomes clear that Ben's impressive win record in the courtroom wasn't just based on, brilliant legal arguments.
He was cheating.
Massively. Ben had a fixer. He had a shadow network helping him actively tamper with evidence and intimidate witnesses.
Wow.
And in his handwritten notes, Ben refers to this person simply as Chief.
This is where the scope of the novel just explodes, because we learn that Chief refers to Kevin Foster, the police chief in a neighboring town called Corbeau.
Right.
Ben Bayless had a sitting police chief acting as his personal syndicate enforcer.
The implications of having a police chief in your pocket are just staggering. I mean, it means Ben could manipulate the justice system from the inside out.
He could do whatever he wanted.
He could bury evidence before it ever reached discovery. He could have witnesses harassed under the color of law.
That is terrifying.
And this terrifying need for total control is perfectly illustrated in what is probably one of the most claustrophobic scenes in the book, which actually takes place the week before the murder.
Oh, the attic scene.
Yes.
It is pure psychological horror. Camille is so terrified of her husband that she literally sneaks into her own attic.
Just to watch him.
Yeah, she is crawling through fiberglass insulation and dust, risking suffocating in the heat, just to position herself over an air vent to spy on Ben in his office below.
It's so tense.
And what she sees him doing is chilling. He plugs a flash drive into his computer and he watches a hidden camera video of Aubrey Price.
Let's break down the layers of violation in that moment. You have a wife reduced to hiding in the rafters like an animal, spying on her husband. Her husband, meanwhile, is sitting comfortably in his leather chair, calmly watching a secretly recorded video of a woman the wife has hired to impersonate her.
It's like a panopticon of surveillance.
Exactly. It's layers of people watching people.
But what is Aubrey doing in the video? Because she's not bartending. She is sitting across from a Detective Walton, begging him to look into a 10-year-old cold case.
Right.
And Ben is just watching her desperation, just absorbing it. Why? Why does he care?
Because Ben's core pathology is hoarding vulnerability.
And vulnerability, wow.
He collects other people's secrets the way some people collect art. And to understand why he's so obsessed with Aubrey's meeting with the detective, we really have to unpack the tragedy that defines Aubrey's life.
The cold case.
Yes, we have to look at the collision between the past and the present.
Right. So 10 years ago, when Aubrey was only 16, her parents were killed in a horrific car crash in Corbeau.
Just awful.
They were hit by a drunk driver. The local police investigated, and a man named Paul Granger was convicted of vehicular manslaughter.
And he got a heavy sentence.
He was sent to the Louisiana State Penitentiary, Angola, to serve a massive sentence. And for a decade, Aubrey believed the narrative she was fed.
She had no reason not to.
She believed the justice system worked, and the man who destroyed her family was locked away.
But the architecture of that belief completely collapses right before the events of the novel.
Because of the letter.
Exactly.
Oh.
Aubrey receives a letter from Paul Granger, sent directly from inside Angola. He writes to tell her that he didn't do it.
He claims he was framed.
He claims he was entirely...
He completely dismisses it. He calls it the delusions from a convicted felon.
Walton's reaction perfectly encapsulates institutional inertia. I mean, police departments measure success by clearance rates.
All right, they closed the case.
They closed a double vehicular homicide 10 years ago. It's off the books. The system has zero incentive to reopen a closed case, expend resources, and potentially embarrass their own department, simply because an inmate claims innocence.
They just don't want to deal with it.
Confirmation bias takes over. The system assumes guilt because guilt was previously established.
They protect the institution, not the truth.
Exactly.
But then Bayless wasn't protecting the institution. He was exploiting it. Because when Camille and her brother, Silas Everett, start tearing through Ben's private files after his death, they find a cryptic note that connects the past to the present.
The sticky note.
Yeah, it just says, Chief Angola, June 6.
And that single note is the key that unlocks the entire conspiracy.
Let's trace the logic Silas and Hank used to piece this together. So, Chief is Police Chief Kevin Foster from Corbeau. Angola is where Paul Granger is serving time for the hit and run.
Right.
So they look at the original police report from 10 years ago. They look at the guest list for Paul Granger's house party on the night of the crash. And Silas realizes a horrifying truth.
It's the craziest twist.
One of the young men drinking at that party was Nathan Sullivan, the exact same Detective Sullivan who is currently investigating Ben's murder.
It is the ultimate gut punch. Because the real drunk driver who took the truck, ran down Aubrey's parents, and fled the scene wasn't Paul Granger at all.
Yeah.
It was young Nathan Sullivan, and the first police officer to respond to the scene of that crash.
Sullivan's uncle, Chief Kevin Foster.
You have to imagine the mechanics of that cover-up.
Yeah.
Like, Chief Foster arrives at a horrific scene. He runs the plates of the abandoned truck, traces it back to the house, and finds his own nephew there.
Probably panicked, probably still drunk.
Almost certainly still drunk. Foster makes a snap decision right then and there to protect his bloodline over his badge. He manipulates the scene, alters the narrative, and frames the passed-out Paul Granger, ensuring his nephew's future remains intact.
Foster literally sacrificed an innocent man to a decade in Angola to save his nephew. It's monstrous.
It's the definition of corruption.
But wait, this brings up a huge logistical question regarding Ben.
Okay.
If Ben Bayless figured out this massive department-destroying secret, why didn't he blow the whistle? The book mentions Ben acquiring physical evidence, like a replacement key to a Defense Force 24 gun safe belonging to Chief Foster.
Right.
If you have the key to the corrupt cop's safe, why not open it, take the proof to the FBI, and be a hero?
Because being a hero doesn't pay the mortgage on a French provincial estate.
Ah, good point.
Ben didn't want justice. He wanted an annuity. If he exposes Sullivan and Foster to the FBI, they go to federal prison, the news cycle moves on, and Ben gets nothing.
He loses his leverage.
Exactly. But if he keeps their secret locked away, if he holds the proof of their crime over their heads like a guillotine, he owns them permanently.
The currency of blackmail. It's not about a lump sum payout. It's about establishing an endless line of credit.
That is exactly the dynamic. Ben was using their past crimes to force them to facilitate his current legal victories.
Right.
Like, if Ben had a client who was guilty, and the prosecution had a damning piece of physical evidence in the Corbeau evidence locker, Ben would just call Chief Foster.
And Foster would have to get rid of it.
Foster had to make that evidence disappear, or Ben would release the proof of the hit and run. Ben built his entire reputation as an undefeated defense attorney on the original sin of Aubrey's parents' death.
Which means Ben's murder is the worst thing that could possibly happen to the corrupt cops in Corbeau.
It's a disaster for them.
With Ben dead, the leverage is floating in the wind. Anyone could find that file. Anyone could find the safe key.
And they know it.
And when Sullivan and Foster realize that Aubrey Price, the daughter of the people Sullivan killed, is actively poking around the cold case, they realize they have to eliminate the threat before she connects the dots.
This brings the danger directly out of the sterile law offices and right to Aubrey's doorstep.
To the boarding house.
Yeah. Elston sets the stage at Aubrey's boarding house, which is a stark, intentional contrast to Ben's world.
It's a very different vibe.
Very different. Aubrey lives in a big, rambling old house chopped up into units, filled with people in transitional phases of life. There's Shane and Eddie, two mechanics. There's Serenity, a yoga instructor. And there's Deacon.
Deacon is a great character.
He's a quiet, intensely protective man. They weren't wealthy, but they are loyal. They are a found family functioning entirely outside the transactional, debt-based relationships that define Ben's life.
And that found family is violently invaded when half a dozen police officers suddenly raid the property.
They just storm the place.
They kick down the doors with a search warrant. And what are they looking for? They claim they're looking for the missing hunting knife from Ben Bayless's office.
You really have to look at the mechanics of a frame search warrant here. The police, directed by the corrupt faction protecting Sullivan, aren't there to conduct an investigation.
No, not at all.
They're there to execute a setup. The intent is clearly to plant the missing hunting knife in Aubrey's room.
It's terrifying because it's a perfect bureaucratic assassination.
It really is.
They plant the knife, arrest Aubrey for Ben's murder, and solve two massive problems at once.
Right.
They close the high-profile murder of a prominent attorney, and they completely discredit and imprison the one person digging into the Corbeau cover-up. I mean, if Aubrey's in jail for murder, no one is ever going to listen to her theories about a 10-year-old hit and run.
The psychology of this moment for Aubrey is profoundly radicalizing.
I bet.
She is watching the very system that is sworn to protect citizens being weaponized to destroy her.
Okay.
She realizes that playing by the rules, filing petitions, talking to detectives, trusting the process, is a literal death sentence.
You can't fight them legally.
You cannot fight corrupt law enforcement with legal briefs when they are the ones holding the guns and writing the reports.
It forces a complete tactical shift. Aubrey teams up with Camille's brother, Silas Everett.
Silas is such an interesting character.
He's fascinating because he is a pure pragmatist. He doesn't have illusions about how the world works.
Right?
Together, they orchestrate a counter heist. They wait until Chief Foster's wife is out, and they break into his house. They use that replacement safe key Ben had acquired, and they open the Defense Force 24 safe to steal the hard evidence of the cover-up before the cops can destroy it.
But while they are executing this desperate plan, the tension just snaps. Detective Sullivan, realizing the walls are closing in, comes for Aubrey directly.
He attacks her.
And the ensuing confrontation forces us to confront a deeply uncomfortable philosophical reality. In this climax, it isn't the justice system that prevails.
No, not at all.
It isn't a courtroom trial that stops the corrupt cop. It is Deacon, Aubrey's quiet, protective housemate, who steps in and kills Detective Sullivan to save her life.
It is absolute shocking violence, and it demands that you, the listener, evaluate the morality of the situation.
It really makes you think.
When the law enforcement officers are the ones committing the murders, when the detectives are the drunk drivers, and the police chiefs are the fixers, does vigilante justice become the only logical option?
That's the big question.
If the referees are rigging the game and they are holding the weapons, aren't you morally obligated to play outside the rules to survive?
The narrative aggressively argues that survival in a corrupted system requires subverting the system's own tools. And Silas Everett articulates this perfectly in the immediate bloody aftermath of Sullivan's death.
While the body is literally still warm.
Yes, they have a dead police detective lying on the floor. Instead of panicking, Silas coldly, clinically analyzes the narrative they can construct out of the chaos.
This is where Silas uses the system's own confirmation bias against it. Silas realizes they don't need to hide the body. They need to frame the dead man. Silas lays out the logic. Paul Granger has always claimed someone else took his truck. Sullivan was at the party. Sullivan's uncle was the first on the scene.
He connects all the dots for the cops.
Right. Silas points out that if they just plant the narrative, the police department will eagerly swallow it.
Because Silas understands that institutions want neat conclusions.
They want it tied up.
He proposes a story. Sullivan killed Ben Bayless. Why? Because Sullivan knew Ben had the evidence of the hit and run in his safe, and Sullivan murdered him to stop the blackmail.
It's brilliant.
It's a perfectly logical, completely believable motive that ties up both cases in a neat bow.
And the absolute genius of the plan. Both Chief Foster and Detective Sullivan are now dead.
They can't defend themselves.
They cannot testify. They cannot deny it. Silas and Aubrey are manufacturing an entirely new reality to serve their needs. They are using the anatomy of Sullivan's actual real guilt from a decade ago to construct a psychological alibi for his murder today.
It is a masterful, cynical manipulation of the truth. I mean, they defeat Ben Bayless by adopting his exact methodology.
That's so true.
They leverage a secret to control the outcome of an investigation. But the fallout of adopting these tactics doesn't end with Sullivan's body. The novel has one final chilling twist that redefines the relationships among the survivors.
This ending changes the entire context of the book. So Aubrey and Silas are sitting in a bar just trying to decompress from the sheer carnage of the last few days.
The adrenaline is finally fading.
Right. And Silas's cell phone rings. He answers it, listens for a moment, and hangs up. He looks across the table at Aubrey, and with total detachment, he tells her that the Corbeau Police Department just called. His wife, Margaret, has been involved in a fatal accident.
The text doesn't spell it out in neon lights, but the implication is deafening and horrific.
It's so dark.
Throughout the narrative, it's hinted that Margaret was a liability. She was somehow complicit or a loose end in this massive web of secrets, perhaps connected to the original hit-and-run cover-up or the subsequent blackmail ring.
She knew too much.
Yeah. And when Silas tells Aubrey about the fatal accident, he follows it up with a line that reveals his true nature. It may not be the justice you wanted, but it's the only justice possible.
He orchestrated his own wife's death.
He ordered a hit.
Silas is a man who operates on a ledger. If an account is unbalanced, if there is a risk of exposure, he eliminates the risk permanently.
He's ruthless.
He doesn't operate on a moral compass. He operates on a balance sheet of survival.
Think about the psychological horror washing over Aubrey in that exact moment.
Yeah.
She is sitting across from a man who just casually had his wife murdered.
Right.
Yes, Aubrey wanted Margaret held responsible for whatever role she played. She wanted the truth to come out, but she never wanted a woman assassinated.
No, she's not a killer.
Aubrey realizes in that bar booth that she hasn't escaped the darkness at all. She has just traded one monster Ben for another, Silas.
And by sharing this moment, Silas irrevocably links himself to Aubrey and Deacon.
He traps them.
He binds them together with an unbreakable chain of shared trauma and complicity. They are now accomplices by proximity.
It's a blood pact.
Which brings the entire theme of the novel full circle in the most terrifying way imaginable. Like, we started this discussion with the Louisiana State Bar Association's definition of an alibi, a legal defense utilizing data and witnesses to prove innocence.
But the concept has completely mutated by the end.
It really has.
It's no longer about credit card receipts. It's no longer about whether your cell phone pinged a tower in St. Francisville. If Silas Everett is ever brought into an interrogation room and questioned by the police about exactly where he was when his wife Margaret died in that quote-unquote fatal accident, how does he defend himself?
He doesn't need data. He has Aubrey, Price, and Deacon.
Exactly.
They will look the police in the eye and swear on their lives that Silas was sitting right there with them at the bar the entire evening.
The alibi is no longer a legal shield to protect the innocent. It has become a blood pact.
Yeah.
It is a currency of survival, bought and paid for with silence.
It is a dark, brilliant evolution. In the world Ashley Elston has built, an alibi isn't the truth. It's the lie you are forced to agree to, because the alternative is mutually assured destruction.
That's exactly it.
And that wraps up our deep dive into the architecture of survival and anatomy of an alibi. It's a story that takes a deceptively simple logistical problem, how to prove you were in two places at once, and twists it into a terrifying exploration of systemic corruption, the illusion of digital privacy, and the price of vigilante justice.
We covered a lot of ground today.
We really did. We've seen how digital footprints can build a fortress around you, or how their sudden absence can create a trap of suspicion.
And we've seen how the institutions sworn to protect the truth are often the entities burying it the deepest to protect their own.
And we've seen that when the justice system is hollowed out by leverage and blackmail, the only laws that matter are the ones you forge with the people you are forced to trust in the dark.
It's a heavy thought.
Which leaves you with a deeply unsettling concept to ponder as you look at the people in your own life. The legal system defines an alibi as a tool of innocence. But as we've seen in this story, the most ironclad alibis aren't constructed from the truth. They are forged in the fires of shared guilt.
Yeah.
It asks you to look at your closest friends, your family, your partners, and wonder if push came to shove, if the sirens were blaring outside your door right now. What kind of alibi would they weave for you? And more importantly, what piece of your soul would you have to trade them to buy it?